Hello everybody, this is Gregory with 5 Minute Catholic Apologetics and Living, where 5 minutes of your time may get you to the divine. Today we're going to talk about what age are we going to be if we're fortunate enough to be in heaven, or in fact this would probably apply to hell as well. Now before we begin, let's start with a prayer. Nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti, Amen. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, secutor in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. So this goes to what we call speculative theology, and the question about what age will we be in heaven has been broached before. I think most famously Thomas Aquinas has really tackled this. And so I want to be clear that this is not dogmatic in any way, shape, or form. The church has never promulgated any sort of teaching that says we will be 26 and a half years old or 52 and 3/4 years old when we are in heaven or hell. So this is all speculative. So what's Aquinas and others leaning toward? Well, Paul talks about how we're going to be in a perfected state. So that kind of gives us an idea of where we're going to be. So the likely answer is that we're going to be adults in our prime. So if you look at children, and most sadly, of course, aborted souls, they're not going to be fetuses in heaven. They're not going to be, or a newborn, heaven forbid, a stillbirth, which I think is one of the worst things you'd have to deal with in life, or a toddler, or any of these. They're not going to stay at that age in heaven. And on the flip side, the 94-year-old who dies from debilitating diseases or lifelong disease of arthritis or whatever it is, they had a leg amputated because of diabetes, they're not going to be that way in heaven. They are going to be fully intact, fully glorified. There is no pain in heaven in any way, shape, or form. So when we die, just a little review, there is a particular judgment. This is mentioned in Hebrews, and the church has always taught this. When we die, we will be judged immediately by Christ, and our soul will either go to heaven or hell. We might go to purgatory for a little while. Protestants, if you don't understand the principle of purgatory, I'll make sure I'll try to remember to put a couple banners here for purgatory. But eventually we go to heaven or hell. And then when Christ comes back in the second coming, our souls will be reunited with our bodies, and we will be judged in a general judgment where everybody in the world will be judged in front of everybody. And at that point, our bodies will be united with our souls, and we will go back to where we were. So when we talk about what age we're going to be and so forth with our bodies, understand that this is normally understood to be when our bodies are reunited with our souls. So in our glorified state, there will be no pain, there will be no envy, there's no anger, there's no despair. So you think of the theological virtues of faith, hope, and love. Faith and hope go away because we're in heaven, right? There's no need to have faith because you're in the beatific vision. You're in the presence of God for eternity. So all that exists is love. We've talked about before that there is no marriage in heaven at all. But Christ talks about that in his conversation with the Sadducees. There's no reason to have marriage. It's not to say you're not going to know your spouse or family members when you're in heaven, but there is no marriage. But we'll be in the beatific vision in a perfected state. So the belief is that we're going to be somewhere, perhaps the age that Jesus died, around 33, that we'll be 33 years old, or it's going to be in some youthful age. It's going to be in a youthful age where we'll be fully intact and we will have no pain. And so when you look at, let's say, a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old or even younger aborted soul, they're not going to have cognitive abilities on their own if they were to be in heaven as, let's say, a 1-year-old. So God infuses them with infused grace, infused knowledge that will give them the ability to be, let's say, a 33-year-old. That's all through the power of God, that they would have the cognition, the intellect and will and so forth of an adult. So that's speculative belief. This is what Aquinas talks about, that will likely be in the prime of our life in heaven or in hell. And unlike hell, in heaven we'll have perfect bliss, being in the beatific vision with loved ones and other people. Remember what is mentioned by Paul: eyes have not seen, ears have not heard what God has ready for those who love him. So guys, post in the comments. I'd like to hear from you. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.